Right, hey guys, how are we doing? So, gonna be straight up honest with you, I was going to watch something else instead of this. It was the, Who is Crollo Lucifleur video. But then it said that it had spoilers up to the manga volume 370, so I checked, and I'm not up to there yet. So, once I've caught up with the manga up to there, I will then react to that video. Instead, I found the disc title very intriguing, and I hope you guys don't mind. I didn't even mention we're doing another Alexander's video. This is The King's Royal Guard, Humanity Personified. Interesting title. It'd be interesting to see where Alexander goes with this one. He always has some very intriguing and interesting points to be made about certain characters and how they act within the show. So let's just get into this. This is The King's Royal Guards, Humanity Personified. For the Chimera Arc, so that's fine. This soak is so cool.
Hunter x Hunter, written by Yoshihiro Togashi, is one of the most critically acclaimed manga series of all time.
It's amazing.
Whilst it's never been as popular as some of the more prominent series of the same genre, Hunter x Hunter has been steadily increasing in popularity in recent years thanks to Madhouse's newer 2011 adaptation.
So good.
This is completely justified. It's fresh, imaginative, diverse, full of brilliant ideas and great fights.
Yeah, the fights are cool.
The show also contains some quite deep and complex character development and internal explorations. Though this aspect of Hunter x Hunter doesn't properly show itself until the famous Chimera Arc. This video will attempt to analyze three of the biggest and most powerful players of the Chimera Arc. The King's Royal Guard. Pito, Poof, and Yupi were conceived by the Queen to provide the King, Meruem, with absolute devotion, protection, and loyalty. However, their programming contained one devastating malfunction: the ability to experience human emotion. As such, these royal guards are all extremely loyal, though they go about their loyalty in contrasting ways.
Yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah.
The three have varying levels of popularity among fans of the series, and I think that each of them have enough about their characterization to merit analysis. Without further ado, let's get started.
Alright. Nefere Pito. Pito. So cool.
We start with the first royal guard and the fan favorite Pito.
Yeah, she's very.
By the way, I'm going to refer to Pito as a she,
yeah,
even though her gender is ambiguous.
Yeah, we don't know.
Pito is a very distinct character. Despite being quirky and almost playful, she's even more brutal, terrifying, and sadistic.
She can be very scary.
She has a thirst for bloodshed and will go to incredibly dark ends to protect her king and his plans.
Yep.
When we first meet her, she seems to have no moral and no empathy, simply acting on impulse and following orders. Pito's brutal slaughter of Kite and the way she disturbingly probed Pockle's brain
that was horrible.
illustrated just how sadistic she was.
Yeah, that was mean.
The one big difference between her and the other royal guards is that she doesn't particularly mind Komugi and the king's fixation with her. And this may seem minor, but this little aspect of her personality kickstarts a domino effect that becomes apparent in the later part of the arc. Pito remains quite evil until the unbelievably epic and brilliant castle storming sequence.
Oh my god, yes.
In which the show subverts the watcher's expectations of her. Once Pito realized the gravity of the situation and the fact that Meruem was in legitimate danger, a switch flicked in her, and she became dead set on preserving the king's happiness and safety. From mid-episode 111 and on, Pito does not utter a single playful or silly comment. She doesn't show her.
No, she's just straight up serious, yeah.
She's deadly serious and desperate. Once she realizes that the king is concerned for Komugi above all else, Pito focuses her entire existence on protecting Komugi. It's such a stark contrast to her earlier exploits that it's quite a shock to see her act this way. This type of character development humanizes Pito. She's not playing games, she's not scary, she's not sadistic. She's just trying to protect and help someone that she cares for. This rapid character development is not out of character. It's just never been exposed due to Meruem never really having been threatened before.
No.
The scene where Pito is confronted by Gon while trying to save Komugi is absolutely masterful, for a bunch of reasons. Firstly, the fact that Pito's personality deviates from the other two guards at this point paints her in a more positive light. Poof and Yupi mechanically think of Komugi as a nuisance that's distancing the king from his destiny, while Pito doesn't really care about Meruem's destiny because she prioritizes his feelings above all else. Pito's sudden character change humanizes her and subconsciously warms the viewer to her, despite her prior evil. The writing for this character was so brilliant that within a span of a few episodes, I went from wanting Pito dead 100 times over to basically hoping Gon didn't kill her because she almost seemed redeemable.
Yeah.
In this scene, Pito breaks her arm, gives up, submits, and desperately begs Gon to spare Komugi. This enrages Gon and
he gets so angry about it, doesn't he?
Why is this evil villain suddenly acting so human?
Yeah.
Why does she almost seem harmless? It would be so much easier if she was still her cool and wicked self, because that would have made the story more straightforward.
Yeah.
But this is Hunter x Hunter, and this is Togashi's wondrous writing.
So good.
My favorite Pito moment happens near the end of her life, when she admits to Gon that Kite is beyond saving.
Oh, Gon. I am sorry.
That's undoubtedly regret and remorse in Pito's voice. Now that she has experienced the fear of losing someone, Pito understands Gon's immense pain and feels sorry for him. Pito was always going to be doomed with the strange and wonderful direction that Gon's character arc went in, and her brutal end was so poignant because it seemed like she had developed so much within such a short amount of time, and was on the cusp of true humanity and redemption.
And then...
It's hard to know for sure, but perhaps Pito wasn't hostile towards Komugi from the beginning, because a small part of her realized that the king cared for her and didn't want to compromise that.
Yeah.
It's such a unique and amazing character and character arc that Togashi has crafted here. Pito's journey is both thematically relevant, emotionally conflicting, and resonant. The fact that she dies satisfied because she has protected her king and Komugi, it's hard not to feel a bit of sympathy for her.
Yeah.
Characters written with as much subtlety and skill as Pito is the reason that Hunter x Hunter stands head and shoulders above the rest of modern anime.
Yupi was a strange one.
Yupi is a criminally underrated character. He tends to be the least talked about of the Royal Guards, but he's a well-written character in his own right. From the off, Yupi is ironically unique in that he has literally no individuality. He's not playful like Pito or artistic like Poof. He assimilates his identity with his duty. He's a little dense and dim-witted, but ultimately he does his duty, carries out his orders, and kills whoever needs to be killed without question.
It's very powerful.
Yupi does consider Komugi a hindrance, but never steps out of line until arguably his final moments. He's efficient. He prioritizes the king above all else and does his job with intensity and passion, but without being obsessive like Poof.
Oh god, yeah.
This passion that he has is the foundation for all of his later development. What's interesting about Yupi is that all of his character development occurs within a single battle. His fight with Knuckle, Shoot, Killua, and Morel. Within this fight, he has to adapt and think harder than he has ever had to.
Yeah.
He transforms into a more selfish, raging individual, before quickly maturing and learning to quell his rage, use his power efficiently, and see things more clearly.
I love it, he's learning as
After
he's
this
fighting.
And after he essentially wins the fight, he actually thanks the hunters for helping him to develop and mature this way. Here he demonstrates what his mindless passion has been channeled into: honor. Yupi appreciates the effort that the hunters have put into their fight so much that he shows mercy and spares them all. The logical thing to do, and what Yupi's past self would have done, would be to kill them because they did pose a threat to Meruem. But Yupi cannot bring himself to do it. He's developed a sort of knightly honor and pride akin to certain characters in Fate Zero. His respect towards the hunter means that he simply doesn't want to slaughter them. Knuckle himself sees this and consequently views Yupi in a new light.
Yeah.
He now respects him,
like, no,
whereas before
I don't want
he
to feel
thought
this
of him
way.
as a mindless monster. The amount of character development that Yupi experiences within the microcosm of a fight is pretty incredible. Of course, Yupi retains his sense of duty post-transformation and ends up regretting his mercy when he sees what has become of his king.
Yeah.
But this is only because he thought the hunters knew of the miniature rose, and none of his development is rendered inconsequential. Having seen the way Yupi had grown sort of a knight's chivalric code, I did feel a bit sympathetic towards him with the way his story ended. Everything involved with Yupi's character and character arc perfectly illustrate the themes of evolution and underlying humanity that are so profoundly associated with the Chimera Ant arc.
Poof. Very obsessive individual.
Shia Poof is the middle child of the Royal Guard, and one of the most bizarre, extreme, and off-the-wall characters I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's so out there.
He tends to be hated for his later antics, perhaps thought of as a character that's insane just for the sake of it. But his character is, in my opinion, perhaps the most poetic we see in the show. There's quite a lot to Poof. He starts off as an intellectual, calm, and rational character after his birth, not doing too much other than carrying out orders, reading books, and playing his violin.
Yeah.
And speaking of Poof's violin, let me just digress for a bit here and say that, believe it or not, that instrument is a big part of the reason that the Chimera Ant arc has such a unique and special tone that starkly contrasts prior arcs in the series.
Yeah.
It adds an element of otherworldliness and maturity to the arc that we had not seen up until this point. The imagery of a tall, somber man playing a violin integrated with such horrifying imagery just added a layer of mystique to many of the montages.
Or when they're controlling Kite to fight everything.
Violin-based songs themselves dominate the soundtrack of the arc as well. During times of tragedy or lamentation, we hear somber ballads. Scenes of heightened emotion or anxiety, Poof plays himself into a frenzy. The violin is just a subtle little tool that Hunter x Hunter uses for the Chimera Ant arc, but I think that much credit should go to Togashi, the show's directors, writers, sound designers, and composers for integrating such a small tool that does so much for the tone shift associated with the Chimera Ants. Back to my original point. Poof starts out relatively sane and normal, despite being quite terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
After the introduction of Komugi, however, things begin to change in his characterization. Poof holds the king up to nearly impossible standards. In his eyes, Meruem should have experienced a straightforward trajectory towards becoming the pinnacle of evolution and literally dominating the world.
But then she gets in the way.
Yet, the king's development stalls when he meets Komugi, and this pains Poof to the absolute core because of his fanatical devotion.
Yeah.
Komugi distracted the king and held him back from that destiny. As such, Poof loathed Komugi, and ultimately tried his hardest to eliminate her.
He tried to kill her, man. That was crazy.
In his viewpoint, serving the king meant serving his ideal king, a king without emotions, but not Meruem himself. Poof fails to realize that Meruem doesn't desire to be served in Poof's demented way, and becomes increasingly unstable and insane as the king becomes more and more human. As the king bonds with Komugi, and as Poof spirals deeper and deeper into pure madness,
he was crazy,
the antagonist label of the series slowly but surely shifts from Meruem to Poof. By the latter parts of the Chimera Ant arc, I despised Poof, but simultaneously admired just how well-written and explored of a character he was. It may be jarring to witness Poof's bizarre.
It's like when Meruem's lost his memory and he's like, right, this is the perfect opportunity.
Development and exploration at its absolute best. The malfunction in Poof's programming is his beyond fanatical devotion to his ideal king, though not Meruem himself, which is a very human personality trait. His character arc is full of irony. He drives himself mad and becomes enveloped in sorrow because the king is becoming more and more human, yet fails to realize that his own humanity is the cause for that madness.
Wow.
Poof is a great character. Togashi had a clear vision whilst writing him. He's unlike any other character I've seen in fiction, and the Chimera Ant arc and Hunter x Hunter as a whole wouldn't be the same without him.
No, it wouldn't. No. Oh, okay. Okay.
There's so much to say about Hunter x Hunter, and I haven't even touched on some amazing characters like Killua, Kurapika, Hisoka, and Meruem, along with some breathtaking story moments. All I've said here about the Chimera Ant arc only scratches the surface of what it really achieves. This arc is dark, tragic, deep, poetic, and beautiful. And Pito, Poof, and Yupi are big reasons as to why it's so successful with what it does.
Oh yeah, it definitely won't be the same without them, Jesus Christ.
The three Royal Guards all had one dominant character trait that humanized them. Pito had empathy, Poof had absolute devotion to the point of madness, and Yupi had honor,
Yeah.
If you consider the Royal Guard's original purpose in life, these traits can objectively be considered tragic flaws. Picho's empathy was unnecessary for the purpose of a Royal Guard, and did nothing to help the king's physical safety. Poof's job was to serve and protect the king, not to try and make his decisions for him. Yupi's decision to spare direct enemies of the king was unthinkable from a Royal Guard's perspective. Meruem's Royal Guards are incredibly developed characters. The respective character arcs that Picho, Poof, and Yupi experience include such sophisticated and nuanced writing, involving themes such as humanity, loyalty, love, respect, and duty. These themes integrate into the Chimera Ant arc beautifully, and help to make it one of the best stories I've ever seen in anime.
Oh my god, it blew my mind how good the Chimera Ant arc was. Absolutely blew my mind. Boss. Cool. That was a really cool video. Yeah. Poof went a little bit crazy, because he was like, it was the idea of the king, not the actual king, that he was obsessed about. And Peter, yeah, it was just like, I felt a little bit sorry for her when it got to the end, but they all did some very nasty, horrible things. You know? So they had to go at some point. But yeah, that was a cool video. Oh god, I'm so sorry for this. Like, my cold and that, like, is killing me. I am finding it hard to record these videos, still doing 3 a day. This isn't me asking for sympathy, it's just like, I am. Facts. So, yeah, not really much to say on that then. Once I catch up on the manga, there'll be a certain thing. There are other Hunter related videos I can watch. There's one about Netero, I do believe, which would be interesting. He was such a cool character. There's other stuff, and once I've caught up on the manga, we can do the Crollo one and that. But yeah, till then, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below, let me know what I should want to discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys. It's all you guys next time.